Welcome to Purpose and Productivity. It is Friday night. It is time for us to get into productivity questions. This is the Q&A show. Excited to have you here. I want to get questions tonight cuz once a month we come together and I just answer your questions. Whatever challenges you've had throughout the month, maybe it's a question about some of the content throughout the month on the prior shows. This was a little bit of a short one. We had two shows prior to today. Last week we had Brian Hill on the show and he shared with us about creative journaling, the journal he had created. And I would love to hear more about questions on journaling, the practice of journaling, and how you're coming along with that, or if you're running into some challenges with it. And then, of course, I kicked off with just kind of some ideas about different types of journals that you can employ or you can put to use in your own practices. So let's see who's out there. See who's out there. David Hunt, you are my buddy. You are my buddy. He gonna be first. David Hunt is first. Yes, and you are still first. Great to have you in the building, sir. And then, of course, we have Frank Jackson, who is here in the building with me in the lounge, waving and having a good time. And want to get you all's questions. Glad you all are here, and I will move along swiftly. Move along swiftly. So, who has a question? If you don't have questions, we're gonna be here real. It's gonna be a real short night. What do you mean the customer is always right? What are you talking about, Frank? Talking about the customer is always right. What are you talking about? Help me understand. I'm confused. David, what questions you got, sir? I want to answer them. Oh, David. Okay. Yeah, he's first. He loves being first, and I'm glad he is here with us. So, let me just kind of share some of the things that I've been dealing with, and or not dealing with, but working through while you're getting your questions together and you're putting Q colon in front of them. I just want to remind you to ask your questions, put a Q colon in front, and I will filter those out and answer them immediately. So journaling, some of the things I've been exploring is doing more digital journaling than analog journaling, particularly using the voice dictation feature of my phone, and because I do a lot of I have more opportunity to do voice dictation sometimes than I do pen, but I still love my pen and paper, and just kind of playing around, just kind of playing around with different opportunities, different types of journals. I started rereading the bullet journal method book because I've read it several times. Just wanted to see if there was something in there that I wanted to pull out that I had not pulled out before, which is more of a um, way to manage tasks and to dos and notes in a very simplified fashion. But I'm a big fan of taking a way I do work for one thing and applying it to another. If you all haven't noticed that I take ideas from one part of my world and apply it to the another part of my world. And so that's one thing that I've been toying with is going back through the bullet journal method book from writer Carroll and actually going back watching some of his early videos on when he explained the bullet journal method. And if you've not heard of it, if you just go to bullet journal, look for bullet journal and writer Carroll, it will come up and you will uh, be really excited about what you see, I hope. So thank you. I see Lisa Maria is in the building. Glad to have you in the building. She says, not in your world. I deal with patients that like to diagnose themselves and know they are not always right. Oh, you're talking about the customer is is always right. Yeah. You know, this is my thing, my thing, Lisa Maria. The customer is not always right. The customer is always the customer. It doesn't mean that they're right. It means they're always the customer, and so the way you address them, the way you respond to them, the way you take on what they share with you is cognizant that they are the customer. But it sometimes you do need to tell them they're not right, and there's a way to do that. I did it today. I I had to do it today, and I just laid out what the obstacles were very succinctly in bullet points and moved along. That was sometimes that's what you have to do. Just say, these are the blockers that I'm having, and be very specific and very clear about what they are. And that doesn't mean they may want something, but if there are blockers that you need their assistance moving out of the way, then it's best to share with them. This is a productivity hack, by the way, because if you're sitting trying to accomplish something, but you have roadblocks in your way that's preventing you, and you're just holding on to it. And I've run into this where someone has said, "Well, I was just trying to fix it myself." And then by the time they say something that they're running into roadblocks, there's almost no time to course correct. So the earlier you say something, the earlier you say I'm running into these roadblocks, the earlier the other person can help you figure out or move the roadblock out of the way or give you some ideas or pull some other people in or whatever needs to be done. The earlier we say we've run into a roadblock, the sooner the roadblock can be moved instead of waiting till later because it's not going to get better, right? So just want to share that with you. And yeah, Google has, what do you mean by Google has a lot of people messed up? I would love to know what you mean by that. What do you mean by Google has a lot of, Lisa Maria said, Google has a lot of people messed up. I'm not sure what you mean by that. So, David, I did see you ask a question. Your question is, how can someone get consistent with journaling? Great question. Consistent with journaling. So this is what I'm going to say. Let's start back when I introduced this journaling habit uh, 2 weeks ago, and there were lots of different types of journals. There are messy journals where you just put everything down. There are gratitude journals. There are idea journals. There's creator journal. There's lots of different types. So the first step is determine what type of journaling you want to do. There's journaling just quotes or journaling creative ideas. So, first, determine the type of journaling that you want to get consistent at. I shared for me, my most favorite type of journaling is my end of day wrap up, where I ask myself what went well today so that I celebrate the day and what lesson did I learn. Some people may say, what failure did I have or what obstacle did I overcome? For me and the way I operate, every challenge, every perceived failure is an opportunity to learn. So I ask myself, what did I learn today? Not what problem I had or what struggle I had or what problem I had or where did I fail? Because all of those for me are learning opportunities. So my two favorite questions is what went well today? What did I learn today? And that's my if nothing else, that is my consistent journaling. I am not one to do what some people consider emotional journaling, like how I feel about stuff. I tell people all the time I don't have feelings, even though I do have feelings. I just don't happen to live there. And when I say I don't happen to live there, I don't put a lot of emphasis into what my emotions are telling me because my emotions will lie to me. So I don't put a lot of emphasis there. But where I'm learning new skills, new opportunities, new approaches, new strategies, new tips, new hacks, um, how to be more effective, I do live there. And for me, a successful day is when I've learned something. So I would say start with determining what type of journaling you want to do. Maybe for you, you are a songwriter, you are a vocalist. Maybe it's journaling in that realm. Song ideas, all of them. You want to journal any song ideas that you have, or you want to journal about learning a new skill related to your music, or about teaching others, or your content that you're talking specifically to m- Black men of faith right now. Maybe you want to journal something that way. So figure out what that area is and start. And oh, by the way, if you start with one, and it doesn't quite work for you, it's okay to change it. You don't have to stay with what you started with. It is perfectly okay to change your mind and journal about something else. Um, all right, we've got some other folks who've joined us. Glad to have you in the building. Miss Denise, glad to have you. You're not consistent with journaling. You tend to journal when I'm in the depth of despair. I like your approach. Well, I thank you for sharing that you like my approach. Yeah, I will share with you some other ideas and things, but Lisa Maria says once you figure out your type, then stick to it like you're saving money for a car or a trip, the trip part, like that, right? And I like that idea. We can always learn something every day, and we really can learn something every day. And thank you for answering this question. Google has a lot of answers, but they are not professional doctors. Yeah, they're not trained. You're right. Um, about that. It isn't. But people love to self-diagnose. All of many of us do self-diagnose with different things. And Google search engines and even AI is not the answers are not perfect for every questions, and the answers are not necessarily accurate. Perfect and accurate are two different things, concepts, principles. It can be perfectly wrong. It can be imperfect, but very accurate. So the content, the answer depends on the question. The one thing I will say about this is you say this about Google. As we've learned to search, the thing that and AI specifically, as we're using generative AI and agentic AI, more generative AI, is that's a great one to journal. How what you're learning in terms of writing prompts. What it did for me as I started that practice, because I started a prompt library, if you will. So prompts that I use and I'm testing, I just stick them in an Evernote notebook, and that's where they live. And then ones that I settle on, I make a snippet from and some other things that I do. But the thing that it did starting that library was it helped me be more conscious of even how what I ask, the context I put when I talk to another person and I'm asking a question. I have for a very long time been pretty good at really asking very specific questions. Where I wasn't always as strong was giving the person enough context to answer the question. And so what I experienced were people were trying to answer a question that they didn't understand, even though the question was very simple and very direct. They were trying to read into what is she really trying to ask, when in essence I was really asking what I was asking, exactly what I wanted to know. I asked. And so writing prompts has helped me understand, even in communicating with people, setting context so the person is not trying to figure out where is she coming from and asking this question. Um, and one of the first ones is because most of us start here is why. We do it as children and we do it as adults. Why? Why are you asking me this? Why do you want to know that? And those are some things you can do in journaling as well. Is ask yourself why. Why are you thinking about this? Why do you like this quote? want to do this thing, or why do you want to play with this music, or whatever it is. Answer some of those questions for yourself. So, David, that consistency is going to be picking your topic and then starting. You can start with paper, you can start digital, you can start with voice, you can start drawing stick figures, you can start with mind mapping. There is no one right way to do it. It's what works for you. And if you try one and it doesn't work, switch and try another one. Who has more questions? That was a long answer to the question today. And we're losing people. We started with 6 people, we're down to 4, but that's all good. The 4 of you who are here, that's what's important. I want to answer any questions that you have, and I'm just double checking. And if you could, to help me find it quickly, put a Q colon in front of it. And if you don't have any questions, we're going to be out of here early tonight. So, um, I uh, am thinking about doing something very different next month to talk about a area of how I use a particular AI tool in content creation, specifically in repurposing. I have a tool that I've been using, and I'm really starting to use it more and more and more to create more content, whether it's blog post or social media post or um, graphics for the channel or emails or listicles, all kinds of things, ideas. And I'm toying with, do I want to spend just a little bit of time walking through how I'm using this tool with you, the community, because it has reduced the amount of hours that I spend. I don't spend a whole lot of time in a bunch of different AI products. Um, this one works well. One of my practices is I will just voice record what I want to talk about or what I want to write about. And I then take that audio recording just from my phone and upload it to this tool. And then I start working with it in different ways. So if you think that's an intriguing idea, let me know in the comments. And we did get another question, and that question is digital journaling or pen and paper. Denise, it's funny you say that. At my core, I love pen and paper journaling. There's something magical for me to sit with paper that I enjoy using and a pen that I enjoy using. There are times, however, when I will do digital journaling. There's some very specific ones. The prompt vault is one, it's a form of journaling. So the vault that I've created of various prompts that I want to try or that I have tried or that I reuse, those are all digital. I don't write those out on pen and paper. My lessons learned and my wins of the day, those are done on paper because I get away from all screens and I just grab my notepad, my notebook, journal book, and a pen that I want to write with that day, and I just kind of sit and not ki- I sit and think. And sometimes I draw stick figures, sometimes I write a lot, sometimes I write a little, sometimes I'm drawing a mind map on the page, but that's how I'm answering that. And so it's a combination. The thing that I will do, however, is even in my paper journaling, I scan it in and digitize it anyway. Because sometimes I want to pull some of that data back and it's easy to search for it, especially as you go through multiple notebooks. Digitizing, I can pull it back. I can do a search and find that, yeah, a pretty paper. I love very thin paper, and so either Tomo River paper is my absolute favorite paper to write with because it's very, very thin. Um, I know this is not directly related to journaling, but I'll tell you when I learned that I like thin paper. I started using Filofaxes years and years ago, and I have a whole bunch of binders. But Filofax paper, while other people complained about it, I loved it because it was thin. And that's when I really learned that I cannot stand really thick paper. I don't like the feel of it. I don't like the experience of it. I don't like anything about thick paper. So thin paper is my jam. And Toma River paper is one of my favorites. The other thing I learned is I love dot grid paper. My second favorite paper next to dot grid is small graph paper, graph style paper with the small squares, not those big fat ones. I don't like line paper. I don't like blank paper either. Dot grid or small grid format is my favorite. Even digitally, when I can, depending on the tool I'm using, I'll either use a dot grid background or I'll use a graph paper background in digital tools because that's what resonates with me. So, little hack there. And if you love pretty pen and paper, a nice notebook and a favorite pen, use it. Use the tools that will ensure that your practice of journaling is maintained. It's the practice of doing it regularly, whether it's every day, once a week, whatever you decide your practice is going to be every other day, once a month. There's no fixed way, there's no right or wrong. It really is an individual idea and practice for you. And what do you want to get out of it? It's real key. So, absolutely. Are there any other questions? Uh, yeah, I do both. Depends on what the topic is that I'm journaling about. Any other questions? Go ahead and get your questions in and let me know. Comment if you are interested in seeing how I'm using this AI tool, um, and some examples, some real world examples of how I do a recording just on my phone and turn that into other types of content. I was thinking about this idea because I like showing people what I actually do and how I actually use these tools. And I don't want it to be scary for anyone, and it doesn't have to be. And just using things that we already have. And so many people don't approach it from that perspective, but that's how I approach. That's how I approach things in my life. What do I already have and how can I make this work for me instead of looking for 99 new things that I have to learn. So thank you. I see someone put yes in the chat that that's something you're interested in seeing. So I will continue to flesh that out and maybe that's what you'll get in August. It is, well, we don't have any other questions. I appreciate the four of you who stuck with me today. I saw some people pop in and out. If you did not and you care to, go ahead and hit the thumbs up, give it a like. The channel will appreciate it. We're growing. We are at, last time I checked, we were at 410, 411, something like that, subscribers. But what's really important for me is that I'm answering your questions. I'm helping you with your personal productivity practices. And there are lots of different parts to them. It's not just one thing, it's not just time management, it's not just project management, it's not just content creation, it's our life. It's how we invest the 24 hours we have every day. I want to remind you that the one thing that we all have the exact same amount of is the 24 hours in a day. When we make it through the entire day, no one has had any more or any less. We have different ways we use it. We have different opportunities that we can employ to use it. Some of us have more money and can hire people to do more things. But at the end of the day, the single human still only has 24 hours in a day. And I'm employing and want to help you, just like I'm helping myself, to achieve those things that are important in my life for me and for you. Those of you who've been around, those of you who are juggling multiple responsibilities, meaning maybe you've got a profession of some sort. And thank you. I appreciate you letting me know because I didn't even go over there and look. I set it up and forgot about it. Thank you, David. Um, I'll look at that later. And those of you who are doing volunteer work. So I want to help because we all have a lot on our to-do list, on our plate. We're going in multiple directions. Let's do it together. So, with that, I'm going to end the show because I don't see any other questions. And I appreciate you all being here today with me. Have a great weekend, everybody.